First of all, I'd like to thank everyone here for coming this afternoon for this luncheon, to be here with us. I see some people that I haven't seen in a long time. Coach Sears, Marsu is here. One of our coaches in high school, Coach Sears. I'd like to thank my teammates up here, Nate Cooks, Greg Dotson, and Tony Snell for being here as well. So let me go ahead on with that. With that being said, Ron Stokes is our guest speaker for the day. He's a former McKinley High School standout. He played tremendously with me in the backcourt at McKinley, and also he went on to Ohio State to become one of the top 2 point guards in Ohio State's history. So with that being said, it was a pleasure, Ronnie, to be a part of that. We played together all through middle school, high school, and college together. That's a long time. And they always would ask him, when are you guys graduating? So we had a good time there. But our main focus is Mr. Stokes here today. He's going to be our guest speaker. He also has been the voice of the Buckeyes for the past 29 years. And he's doing a great job there in that area. Also, it's a special, I'd like to mention this guy's name. I think he's in here today. I think it's Cappy. Where's Cappy at? Is he here? Oh, there you go. He's all the way in the back. He's all the way in the back. He's a former McKinley football player, offensive tackle, I think, in the 70s. And I did a little research on you, and he was a heck of a guy back then. So I just wanted to give him a shout out as well. A friend of his is in Columbus, Ohio, Craig, and he's a good friend of mine. So we had a conversation yesterday, so I told him I'd give him a shout out as well. I see a gentleman raising his hand.
Just for a moment, don't look around the things that you did, because the 2 of you guys together were quite a ferocious part of that team.
Thank you.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I'd like to share the wealth, that's all. Without him, it wouldn't have been me. Without that young man down there, Nate Cooks at the end, it wouldn't have been me. So he done a lot of things that a lot of people didn't see, make us better players. So I really appreciate you, Nate, doing that for us, giving up some time, stepping aside and letting us go ahead and play, Nate. A lot of people don't see those kind of things, man, but it's in our heart, man. We really love you for that. Appreciate you. And without further ado, let's get our speaker up here today, Mr. Ronnie Stokes. But not only being a teammate of mine, not only being one of my best friends, but he's my brother as well. Let's give him a hand, please.
All right. So anytime I come up to Canton, I always got to have some notes here, because I get so emotional because Canton means so much to me. And I'll get into my talk here. I'm going to talk for about 20, 30 minutes and leave it for some questions, some Q&A at the end. But thank you, Troy, for that great introduction. I appreciate you, my man. RJ, you're out there. Thank you for connecting with Antonio to get me here. And obviously, Jeff, thank you for being the president and running luncheon. I'm so thrilled, and I always get excited about coming back to Columbus. And I was doing my research about the NFL. I tell people all the time I was born and raised in Canton, Ohio, but I think I've been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame maybe 2 times in my entire life. But, the NFL was founded in Canton back in September of 1920. I know that Canton was petitioning to make sure that the Pro Football Hall of Fame was here. And one of the things they said was that was the reason why you should have it here. NFL was founded in Canton. The Bulldogs was the first repeat champion in 1922 and 23. And the last reason, probably the most important reason, is money. It raised over $440,000 plus, and today that's valued at about $3 million to get the right to have the NFL Hall of Fame here. So there's some history that you may or may not know. But before I get started, there's a little joke that my daughter told me, and I'll share this with you. So real quickly, there was this neighborhood had this husband and wife and a little son that always got in trouble. His name was Joey. And one day his family moved in, and a husband and wife with a newborn baby. And the baby was born prematurely, but it was healthy, with the exception that it was born without any earlobes. But they were going to grow back, the doctor said, but at the time it was born, didn't have any earlobes. So the father and mother of Joey said, we're going to go over and welcome this family in, okay? And said, now look, kid, Joey, this kid doesn't have any earlobes right now, and you better not say one single thing about this when we go over there. So they go over to the new family's house and knock on the door, they go in, and as soon as they get in the house, Joey goes right to the crib, put his hands on that crib, and just starts staring at that baby. And then so the parents of the baby's looking and saying, isn't he cute? And then Joey looked up at the mom, looked down at the baby. Can he see? And the mom said, yeah, he can see. He's got 20/20 vision. And Joey said, I'm sure I'm glad because he's never going to be able to wear any glasses. All right, so one thing I always love to do, so anybody that was born in the month of October, I want you to stand up. Anybody that was born in the month of October. Oh, wow, okay. Anybody born on October 12th? October 12th. Okay, who's the closest to the 12th?
19th.
19th, anybody closer than 7 days? The 7th, that's 5 days, 19th, 7 days, what day? 10th, that's 2 days. Okay, anybody closer than that? All right, I'm gonna come back to you later. What's your name?
Jeff.
Jeff?
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, and what's your last name?
Bailey.
Bailey. Okay, now Jeff, don't let me forget. So at the end, make sure I come back to you. Okay. Why do I love Canton, Ohio? There are 5 incredible reasons. The first one is my life. I was born right up the street at Altman Hospital, February 24th of 1963, to my dad, Frank, and my mom, Lily, who brought me into this world, and I'm obviously thankful for them for coming together and bringing me into this world. I lost my dad when I was 29, and that was just a tough day for me because I had just signed a pro contract to play in the NBA Development League, and I was so excited about that first practice. I was going to go out and tell him, and that's when I found out that he had passed, and so that just resonates with me today. But my dad taught me my work ethic, and I will ever just love him for that. And my mom, unfortunately, passed away earlier this year on April the 5th. And for those of you who have lost their mom, you know how special moms are. So I love my mom because she taught me about passion and loving other people. The second reason why I love Canton is because I met my best friend in life here in Canton, and that's Troy Taylor. I've known Troy for a very long time. We were competitors as 5th and 6th graders, if you can believe that. And I'll never forget playing against Washington. He played for Washington, I played for Allen Elementary. We played him, I think, twice a year, lost both times. Then 6th grade, played him again, lost both times. And I went to my coach, I said, I hope that guy goes to the same middle school that I go to, because I don't want to keep facing him. Because every time I play against Troy Taylor, we lose. And so we ultimately went to Hartford Middle School together, and we had some great teams. Tony Snell was part of those 3 years at Hartford. At that time, middle school was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. So we never lost a game, 7th grade, never lost a game, 8th grade, never lost a game in 9th grade. Then we went on to Camp McKinley. Troy and I, as sophomores, played with David Greer in the backcourt, had a great season, lost our first game early in the year against the Lions, never lost another game until, unfortunately, that game against Akron Central Howard, where a guy hit a half-court shot that beat us. And then our junior year, again, Troy and I were very young, we were juniors, and I'll never forget, we played, and Troy scored like 49 points in a game, And I'm like, wow, this guy's pretty good, right? My teammate. We came back in the middle of the season. We lost 2 games in our own tournament. And, I'm obviously Troy and I went to Ohio State. You know how passionate people in Columbus are about our football team, right? But when we lost those 2 games in a row, the Canton thought the world was coming to an end. And they wow, McKinley lost 2 games in a row. But we came back at a decent year. And then our senior year was 12th grade. Only lost 1 game that year. And unfortunately, it was in the regional finals. And the other team was just better than us that day. But Troy, you're an awesome friend. I appreciate the fact that I met you here in Canton, Ohio, and I always cherish Canton for that. My education, I was educated in the Canton school system. I had some incredible teachers that worked with me and encouraged me, saw that I had some skill set, especially in the math area. And in fact, my 2nd grade teacher actually came to my wedding. That's how impactful she was in my life and later on. And Mrs. Clark, who was the grandmother of Raymond Morgan, was my kindergarten teacher and also worked at McKinley while Troy and I were going there. So I'm thankful for my educational system here at Canton. The 4th reason is my athletic opportunities and all of the phenomenal support in Canton, Ohio. Canton McKinley was the red-black. Always wanted to wear the red-black from when I was little, watching Bill Hubbard and all the greats at Canton McKinley. That inspired me to want to wear that red and black. And then Rose and Howard White, God bless their soul, they were so tremendously supportive of the McKinley program, especially Troy and I. In fact, her and her husband traveled down to Columbus, Ohio, and followed up Troy and I when we were there. And then all of my coaches, I remember all of them. Coach Mack was my coach in elementary. Jesse James, not the gunslinger, but Jesse James was my Little League baseball coach, and he and I still communicate today. Think about that. And Coach Larsoul, who Troy mentioned, coached us in the 7th grade basketball. Guy Burcham, who I'm hoping will be here later today, coached us in the 8th grade. And Coach Burcham was more than just a coach. He was like a mentor to us as we were growing up in Canton, Ohio. We had a really good team that nobody would play us in the city. So Coach Burcham would schedule games where we would actually drive an hour to play against somebody that would play us because we had some really good talent and teams would just play us. And then Coach Snedeker, who coached us in the 9th grade, the late great Ken Newland coached us at Canton McKinley, and then our coach at Ohio State, Ellen Miller. So I'm very thankful for the athletic opportunities and the support of Canton. And last but not least, I met my wife of 39 years here in Canton, Ohio, Lupita. I met her when I was 5 years old. So it's a true story. I met her in kindergarten. Mrs. Clark was our teacher. And can't make this up. I'm 62 years old, so that woman, I've known her for 55 years of my entire life. So she's the love of my life, and we've been happily married for 39 years. And we have 4 phenomenal children, 4 grandchildren, and 1 on the way. So I'm just so excited about the fact that I got many, many years to live with her and love her. Transition to Ohio State basketball. My freshman year, our first game was thousands of miles away in Alaska. And so we flew over there. It was a great Alaskan shootout. It was one of those preseason tournaments that was really prestigious. And, our first game, we got upset by the school called Iona. Lost in the first game. Second game, we played a team called McKinley State. And that may not be a big deal to you guys, but on that team, they had a guy in the backcourt by the name of Joe Dumars. And Joe Dumars went on to become a phenomenal NBA player. But that day, the Canton connection got him. So we beat Joe Dumars in McKinley State. Then the next game, we played against Georgetown. And that year, they went on and lost to North Carolina in the championship. But on that team was Patrick Ewing and Eric Sleepy Forward. And we got them that day, too. So we had a pretty good day. Our sophomore year, well, which I felt was probably our best team. Troy and I, Larry Huggins, Granville Waiters was on the team. Joe Contract, who's from this area, made it to the Sweet 16 and played against this team called North Carolina. And they had some pretty good players on that team. Brad Doherty was one of them. Sam Perkins was another. Right? And then they had another guy called Michael Jordan. And here's the thing. We were winning with about 7 minutes to go in that game. It was at the Carrier Dome. I don't know, 20,000+ people there. And but again, they had Jordan on their team. And so they ended up beating us. My junior year was a tough year for us because we had a couple guys that unfortunately was ineligible. We didn't make the tournament. But we had a chance to play against somebody who was really, really good, who, in my opinion, would have been an incredible, great NBA player for the Boston Celtics until his demise. His name was Len Bias. Right? I'll never forget getting the phone call when I heard that he had passed away tragically. But think about this: Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, in their prime with this phenomenon coming out of college. Had he gone there, the NBA probably would be written a lot different. My senior year, made it to the NCAA tournament again. Troy and I on that team, Brad Summers, Dennis Hobson were our teammates. And our college career came to an end against a guy, we called him the mailman back then. Well, he's known as the mailman now, but back then his name was Carl Malone. And so he had 29 points, 20 rebounds. So that's the reason why our season ended. But I will want to talk about my last moment at Ohio State in St. John Arena. So Troy and I were interviewed, Canton connection, played together all these years. They were asking us, like, how do you want to end your career? And I told the reporter, I said, you know what, I want to end it with a bang. So we're playing against Michigan State that, Coach Izzo was the assistant coach at the time. And Scott Skiles was out there, Sam Vincent, and we had won the game pretty much. It was about 20 seconds ago. And typically in your last game of the season, coach will call a timeout and take you out, right? And let the fans cheer for you. But Elder Miller, for some reason, left us in the game. So I had the ball, and I was dribbling it out. And Troy come over to me asking for the ball. And I said, man, get away from me. This is my moment. He says, no, Ronnie, I'm going to pass you this alley-oop. I said, okay, you can have the ball, man. So I gave the ball. I went behind, screen, throws the ball. I caught it, dunked it. And that was our last play in St. John Arena. So we went out with that. Now, the next phase. So I want to try out with the pros. So I had a trial with the New York Knicks. That's 2 weeks before I went to training camp. It's going to be in New York. And I'm sitting in my apartment, and I get this phone call. And this guy says, hey, Mr. Stokes, I want to talk to you about NFL football. I'm saying, like, who is this from the Princeton, right? I played football 1 year, 9th grade in middle school. And he says, no, I think you're 5'11", you're 185, you're athletic, I think you're tough-minded, I think you can play in the league. I said, okay, buddy. And I was actually kind of rude, right? Because I thought this guy played a joke. And he says, I said, who are you? He says, my name is Tony Dungy, and I'm the defensive back coach with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I didn't know who Tony Dungy was at the time. I knew who the Steelers was because I hated them because they went against my Browns. But he wanted me to come try out with the Steelers. And unfortunately, I didn't go. I wish I would have gone because I would have loved to have met Tony Dungy. What an incredible person. But that's my football story. And befitting, I want to share this with you too. So one of the things I do in Columbus, I'm on the board of the NIL group called the Foundation. And we help and assist raise money for the university to help pay athletes. And one of the perks of doing that, they give us some perks from time to time. Now, the ring I have on right now is from the 2007 Final Four. I love this ring because it's small, you can wear it, it's nice. But one of the things that I was blessed with is that as being part of the foundation, I was able to get a championship. So I'm gonna wear this even though it's a monster. And I'll let you see it early because it actually opens up. Look at that. Yeah. There's confetti in there from the actual field after the championship. So So this is, I don't wear this, I just brought it because it's a Pro Football Hall of Fame luncheon, so I figured I'll bring some football stuff, right? Okay, 29 years of broadcasting, I get two questions. How did you get involved and what do you do to prep? So back when I played in college, and Troy will attest to this, I had this ability to remember everything about games. Like Troy would be in the locker room, he says, Ronnie, tell the guys how many points I scored in our first game we played 3 years ago. I would tell him how many points he had, how many assists, how many rebounds. He said, tell me, Dennis Thompson, how many rebounds he had. And I said, yeah, he had 5 rebounds, whatever. And so I was able to remember all this stuff. You gotta remember, the internet wasn't introduced to the market until 1991. So a lot of this stuff I just researched at the library or at the newspaper. So that was my ability to remember and retain things. And so as a basketball player at The Ohio State University, they kind of treat you like an NBA team. You're gonna get interviewed. So I was able to think and articulate my thoughts. And so the radio station loved that. So they called me up one day and said, Ron, would you like to be a pre and post game analyst? I said, absolutely. So I did that for 1 year. The current analyst, Craig Taylor, made a decision work-wise to transition somewhere else. They asked me to be the analyst. So 29 years later, we got a Canton boy there, right? So I'm very excited about that. Now, the prep word. Now, it has changed tremendously because of NIL. I was doing my research for the Big Ten this year. There's at least 4 teams where 14 out of 15 players are entirely new to the team. Think about that. So not only do I have to research these 14 players, in most cases, the coaches are new. Now, here's the thing. Back in the day, I would go and watch last year's tape of a team. It does me no good now. So why would I watch a team that every single player is gone now? Have to start from scratch. So my prep work is double and triple in some cases, right? Now, because of the additional teams, when I played in the Big Ten, it was the Big Ten. It was 10 teams, right? Now there's 18 teams, right? So last year, because of this, we were out in LA for, 6 days because we played USC and UCLA. This year, we're going out to Seattle to play Washington and Oregon, right? So it's completely has changed my job as an analyst. Special moments. 1994 Final Four. A guard that does not get enough attention. He's one of the best guards in Ohio State history, Brian Brown. He was a freshman on that team. We were playing against St. John's, who had Ron Artest on that team. We had upset the number 1 seed, which was Auburn, so we were the 4th seed playing against St. John's. And the game was in flux. We're up by 1. St. John's trying to score. Brian Brown steals the ball, goes down, secures victory. One of my special moments because I was able to broadcast my first Final Four in 1999 in Tampa, Florida. That motto, March 6, 2005. Illinois, undefeated. Now, what was the last NCAA team that won undefeated the entire year and won the championship? Indiana, 1976. Bobby Knight probably would have won it the year before had their top forward not got hurt. But anyway, they were playing Illinois. Our team was ineligible to play in the tournament, so we were really not playing for anything other than the tournament. Late in the game, obviously, we're down by 2 and have the ball last possession. And that model will tell you this, he'll vouch this. They said, are we gonna go for the 2 or are we gonna go for the win? And he looked down at Illinois, who had Darren Williams and a bunch of other great players. He says, guys, do you wanna play them for another 5 minutes? Are you crazy? We're going for the win. Matt Sylvester knocks down the 3, we win the ball game. Outstanding, one of my favorite moments. 2007, March 17, Lexington, Kentucky. Ohio State, number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, playing against Xavier. Coach Mata's former team that he had left a few years ago. We're down 2, less than 20 seconds to go. We miss our shot. Xavier gets the rebound. Greg Oden fouls. It really was an intentional foul, but they didn't call it. But we're down 2. get 2 shots. They go up 4, the game's over. Grago's been fouled out. Guy goes down who's perfect from the free throw line. Hadn't missed a single shot, 8 for 8. Justin Cage is his name. He makes the first. We're down 3. He misses the 4th. That's the second shot. We rush the ball up the court. Michael Conley Jr. passes it to Ron Lewis. He knocks down the shot, ties the game, goes into overtime, we win. Another special moment for me. Went to my, because of that game, they went on, they beat Tennessee, went to Wichita State, went to the Final Four, beat Georgetown, and then ultimately lost to Florida. My second Final Four, my stat models best team that year. Okay, we'll talk about business a little bit. 3 Leaf Productions is a company I've owned for 20 years. It's a printing, marketing, and warehouse and fulfillment company. Very, very excited about what I've been able to accomplish with that. And I also have a business called LARS, which stands for Laurel, Amber, Ronnie, Sydney. Those are the names of my children. It's a real estate and a commercial painting company. But I want to talk about pivot, and I'm going to use the basketball analogy. And I'm going to use this is going to take about 1 minute here, but I'm going to use my teammates for this. Can you hear me? Hello, hello, can you hear me? Okay, all right, Troy. Okay.
Turn that one off.
No, it's on that one. It's pushed.
Yeah, but turn that one off. It's good.
Again.
Turn that one off.
Yep, you're good. You're good, John,
I
still.
need you guys to come down here real quick. All right, so.
Oh, now it's
It's not working? There it is. All right, everybody know what a pivot is? The basketball? Okay, so real quick, come on, guys, take this out. All right, come on. Y'all moving like y'all 60. Okay, so Nick's guarding me, Troy's in the post, Tony, you're guarding Troy. So Troy and I played together a long time, right? So pivot, so this is my pivot flip. So one of the things that Troy and I learned at a very, very early age, when you want to go somewhere, you fake like you're going the other way because the defense has got to react. So if I ultimately want to pass the ball to Troy this way, I want Nate to react to me going this way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go like I'm going to pass it here. So Nate's got to react. Troy at the same time is going to set up Tony to act like he's going this side. So Tony's going to react to that. So if Troy's a good player, which he is, he's going to seal Tony now to allow me to pivot and make a nice little pass inside for him to score. That's called a pivot. Defense take away option 1, you go to option 2, right? That's a pivot, all right? Give him a round of applause. I'm gonna tell you. Want me to just keep this one on or turn the other one? All right, go ahead. So 2020, what happened in 2020? COVID, right? COVID, right? World shutdown. So I'm in my hotel room and getting ready to broadcast game for the Big Ten tournament, putting on my sock. And our producer calls me and says, Ron, pack it up, we're going home. I said, what's going on? Hey, they just shut down the world, no more basketball, nothing. So packed my bags, went back to Columbus, right? So basketball's done, but I still have a business to run. At that time, 3 Leaf Production, wasn't doing bad. We're just north of $10 million a year. And so our 3 top clients stopped buying from us. Stop buying. Our 3 top clients. So I'm not buying product. But I still got a building. I still have employees. I still have other things I have to pay. But no revenue from our top 3 clients. And I remember going to my office one night, and we were deemed essential. The government allowed essential businesses to stay open. We were supporting some companies that were essentials to the government, so we were able to stay open. But our 3 top clients stopped buying from us. It was like a ghost town, Twilight Zone. And so I had to pivot in business. My primary services was printing and marketing, warehouse and fulfillment. Well, no one needed that because everything was shut down. But there was something that was needed. Does anyone know what PPE stands for? Personal protective equipment. Man, we got some smart people in Canton. There you go, my brother. You got it. So because of a long-term relationship I had with someone who had a relationship with someone over in China, there was something that was needed, PPE. and we had the ability to source PPE from this entity in China. And so there was a contract up for bid that not a lot of people could procure because they didn't have any relationships. The world shut down. So here was one little small thing that I had to do to get this order. I had to wire strong 6 figures overseas to prepay for this product. Now, you talk about not sleeping well that night. When I had to hit the send button to wire that money over, can you imagine in a legal battle with somebody in China and I'm in the United States and the world shut down? So thank goodness the money went, we were able to get it done, and it went on. We had one of our best years in the history of our company because of that. So that's called a pivot. All right, my legacy, mission in life. My wife and my 4 children are everything to me. They are everything to me. 4 grandchildren, 1 on the way. And I'm just so excited about being with them every single day. My buddy Troy will call me to say, are you gonna play golf this weekend? I said, no, Troy, the grandkids are coming over. I got no golf for you this weekend. And as I said earlier, my kids are, business is named after my kids, and each one are actively involved in our business, Mars LLC. And I cannot tell you the joy of being able to work with my son every single day, calling him, talking to him. Troy, you know, as I was driving up, I was on the phone with Ron Jr. just talking about business operations, and I'm just so excited about working with him. And that's one of my greatest joys. Balance in life. I get this question too, Ron, how do you do it all? You know, you have 2 companies, you're a broadcaster, you're traveling, you're on the board for a large bank in Columbus, Ohio. You're also on the board for the foundation, one of the largest NIL operations. 3 things, prioritizing. I wake up every day, there's certain things I gotta get done. I write them down on my phone. I'm not going to end this day until I get those things done. Organizing, I put things in proper place, right? I get my buddies who will call me, with the exception of Troy. They call me during the day, and I say, hey, no problem, love you. I'll call you at 6 o'clock. Can't talk to you right now. I'm handling my business. Discipline. I always had discipline. I learned this from my mom and dad. As you can see, I'm 62 and take care of myself. And it's not easy. Back when I was in school, chasing, as I call it, chasing minutes. I had motivation to work out, but right now I'm chasing moments so I can live a little longer. I'm gonna leave you with this. And in life, you're always going to be presented with challenges from time to time. And one of the things that I've learned is that find somebody, identify somebody in life that you never want to disappoint. And whenever you're confronted with whether you do this, whether you do that, whether you do right, whether you do wrong, remember that person that you don't want to disappoint. And more times than not, you're probably going to make the right decision. Now, my teammate, Clark Kellogg, I love that guy. He is the best of the best. The superlatives that come out of his mouth is just so unbelievable. He was speaking one day, and I told him I was going to steal this from him. He said, live like you would die tomorrow, learn like you would live forever. Live like you would die tomorrow, learn like you would live forever. When he said that, I said, wow. So I'm reading more now than I've ever read in my life because of that. Okay, we're going to open it up to Q&A. And John, don't forget, you got to get with me. No, was it Jeff? Jeff, there you go. Jeff. But we're going to open it up for Q&As. Any questions? Just question back there.
How's it looking for the Buckeyes this year? Are they going to be competitive? Last year's has been tough for the Buckeyes basketball.
Okay, question is about how the Buckeyes, right? So first and foremost, we saw a little bit of it last night, right? Yesterday afternoon being Notre Dame. With the team we had last year, we would not have won that game. Okay, the offensively have more versatility than we've had in many years. The kid, Christoph Tilley, who transferred from St. Mary, He's a 7-foot center that has the ability to shoot the three and put the ball on the floor and drive to the basket. Now, he hadn't shot the ball well from beyond the arc, but I believe that will come. So to answer your question, I like our team. I like our maturity. I think that we are an NCAA team. Now, again, we've still got a lot of basketball to be played, but we're 4-0. We're winning games that we probably would have lost last year. So I think we're on the right track, but still a lot of basketball will be played. I will know a lot more about this team after mid-December. We're on the road in Atlanta against North Carolina. We got a game on the road at Northwestern. We got Illinois at home. Played West Virginia and Cleveland. So we're going to learn a lot about our team in the next 45 days. But I like the direction where we're going. So get excited. 3 years in a row not going to the tournament is not fun. It's not fun at all.
You have any Bobby Huggins stories?
Bobby Huggins stories. Yeah, I do. So Ohio State was playing against West Virginia. And this is when Bad Mom was there. And obviously I knew the family very, very well. And so I had text Bobby and said, hey, can I come to your practice? And so he said, yeah, Ron, come on over. So I go over his practice, I'm watching it. And then while he's practicing his team, he stops practice. And he looks over to me and he says, Ronnie, you make sure you don't give all this away to Thad Matta tonight, right? And I said, of course not, Bobby, I won't do that. Bobby, I feel so bad for Bob Huggins because, in coaching, and if you're a great coach, you always need a little bit of luck. You got all the greatest players in the world. But that year when Kenyon Martin broke his leg, that team would have won a national title. They were that good. They were playing collectively, and they were playing Bobby Huggins basketball. They would have won a national title. The other thing about Bobby Huggins is that he loved his players. They were in the Final Four playing against Duke, and his best player had been hit in a play, and he broke his leg. And he was on the ground, and there's a picture of this on the internet. Bobby was over this kid, Deshaun, can't think of his last name, but you could just see the love that Bob Huggins had for this player because he knew his career was over and one of the biggest stages. So that's the one thing about Bobby Huggins that I will always love is the passion, compassion he had for everybody and the passion he had for coaching. Right here, RJ.
I apologize. I don't have a question for you, but I do for Troy.
Okay.
Those in the audience may not know the success that your son has had as a golfer. Could you give us an update on, or maybe a little background and maybe an update on how his career?
This gentleman know more about my son than I do.
I'm Troy Jr.'s godson. I got Bob.
Yes, my son is 6'2". When he went to college, he was probably about 5'8", and over that time he grew to 6'2", and he ended up going to Michigan State. It was between Ohio State and Michigan State for a golf scholarship, but they offered him his sophomore year in high school, and he went on to go to Michigan State. He's a Spartan. He turned pro 2 years ago, and he's playing on the APGA tour right now, and he's in East Lansing right now. Thanks to that young man right there, he takes care of him all the time, and he invited us, probably about 10 of us this spring, up to the course, and he let us play up there, and we had a great time, so we really appreciate that as well.
Troy, while you guys are still up there, I have a quick question for you back here.
For Troy or me?
For both of you.
Okay, come on up, Troy.
You guys, when you guys were seniors and you were being recruited at Ohio State and other places, I'm sure, was it a package deal? Were you guys not going to go separate places? Because I always remember back in the day when it was, if you take Ronnie, you got to take Troy. If you take Troy, you got to take Ronnie. Was that kind of the deal with you guys?
I'll answer that one, Troy. I got more history. Troy was, as I mentioned, he had 49 points in the game, so he was clearly thought of as the best guard in all of Ohio, one of the best guards in the entire country. I will mention McDonald's All-American. He and Greg Stokes went to Iowa. Troy was, he and Greg Stokes were 1-2 in terms of the best player in the state. Troy had committed to Ohio State in November, early commitment. And at the time in February, I had some interest from Cleveland State, had some interest from Akron and Kent State, but no offers. And so here I am sitting on an undefeated team in the state with no offers, playing to get with one of the best players in the entire country. So at the end of the year, Troy was selected to play in an all-star game. But at the same time, there was an all-star game in Chicago. So Troy couldn't be in two places at one time. So Troy said, hey, take Ron. And so I went to Chicago. I had severely sprained my ankle in the regionals against Canton South and was not 100%. And so I went up to Chicago as a substitute, if you will. And I'm going in a hotel, I'm seeing all these great coaches, John Wooden, all these phenomenal coaches, all these players from Chicago. And here I am, a guy who was considered to be second and didn't have an offer. And these guys had committed to like all these top schools. So I was a little nervous. Plus I had a bad ankle. And I was sitting on the table getting taped, ready to go for the game. And the trainer was giving me a lot of encouragement. And as I was walking out, there was a guy by the name of Reggie Kelly, who's from Canton, was there at the game and encouraged me. And I went out and had one of my best games ever. And as a result, Ohio State offered me, Purdue was offering me, and so was Wisconsin. So it was not a package deal, not at all. Troy was one of the best guards. I was not considered one at the time. You want to answer that, Troy?
Well, I just figured we played together in middle school and high school. I might as well take him along with me.
This isn't really a question, but I wanted to say I graduated in '81, and we had a chance to play against you guys. I was at a little school, like a little parochial school.
What was the name?
It was St. Joan of Arc.
St. Joan of Arc.
Yeah.
So I don't remember playing you guys our senior year.
Well, no, this is in grade school.
Oh, in grade school.
Grade school, 8th grade.
Well, nobody wanted to play us in the middle school.
No.
Well, thanks for playing us. Nobody wanted to play us.
And we got totally schooled. It was humbling. I had never
So we won
seen
by a few points.
They scored over 100 points on us. But the thing that I remember was these guys that were tossing it to each other and then slamming it and dunking it in pre-warm-up. And then Troy actually did it in the game. And I'm in 8th grade, and he's 5'11", and I'm like, I can barely hit the net. And then I think they beat us like 100 and something to 20. And it was, and I'm like, as soon as I was like, that's a different level. Like, and so I was totally enamored with you guys, and I followed you guys all the way through high school and college, and it's sort of neat to see it today. So just honestly, it was humbling. So I appreciate you.
Thank you for that memory. There's a question right here too.
Well, on this year's ball club at Ohio State.
Wait, one second. One second.
Get your mic.
We got Jim. Oh. On this year's ball club at Ohio State, there are 3 former Mr. Ohio basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Has that ever done before in your history and knowledge?
Not on the
Ohio
same
State?
team. No.
On the
Gabe,
same team?
no, not on the same team. Gabe Cups, Devin Rule,
And White.
Yeah, Colin White. Yeah, nope, never in the history. I hope that means something, that we're going to have some success. Because typically, when you have the best players from Ohio, that equates to success, right? And if you think about it, Thad Matta's years, you have to give Thad Matta a lot of credit. He got the best of the best. Jared Sullinger, David Lighty, Daquan Cook, Kosta Koufis. Think about that. Right? B.J. Mullins, John Deaver. These all players from the state of Ohio. So no, I don't believe it has ever happened before. Great question, great point. Wow, 3 Mr. Ohio's on one team.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Ronnie, can you speak about your involvement with NIL at Ohio State?
Yes, so NIL, so the O Foundation is something that myself and a couple of business partners Matt Terwilliger, a former player, Michael Conley Jr., and Evan Turner created, and specifically for Ohio State men's basketball. Now, we know that Ohio State's a football school, we know that, but our basketball is respected as well. So I wanted to be involved with an NIL collective that would support Ohio State basketball. And our first NIL contract was with E.J. Liddell, and I believe it was south of $30,000, right? And so as we were moving on and this thing was evolving, we're realizing that we need to raise more money. So we partnered with this company, this entity called B Foundation, and we merged, and I became the president of that foundation. Brian Schatstein and Cardinal Jones are the founders of that. It's interesting. It's changed quite a bit. In fact, we got a meeting next week with the powers that be at Ohio State and some other folks just to talk about the landscape and what's going to happen in the future. I don't necessarily have an answer or formula, but I think in any situation, when you have everybody's important, the players obviously are important, the school is important, the fans are important, and the sponsors who are paying the money to be involved. Everybody should win in that formula, and it can't be one-sided. Right now, the players really, it's really for them now. They can transfer anytime they want. There's really no structure of who, how, and what type of money that you can get. I just think that there needs to be a harmonious type of holistic agreement where everybody wins. I'm not smart enough to come up with that solution, but I do think in my mind that there's going to be some power leagues where you got East Coast Conference, West Coast Conference, and there's going to be some structure where top rated players get X amount of money. I think that's where it's going to have to go. But right now, it is called the Wild Wild West, unfortunately. So.
I watched you in high school. We're about the same age. And you came over to our place. And I think you put about 100 points on the board in Glenn. You know, we were doing good in the Federal League. And then,
Which season, our senior or junior year?
I think the junior year, I think.
Yeah, we put it on your junior year. Our senior year, we played against you guys in what they call the ice hockey game, where they had cleaned the floor and the substance on the floor, and then everybody was slipping and sliding. And Glen Oak was actually pretty good at it, a really good point guard that Troy and I would battle with quite a bit. But our junior year, I think we got you guys pretty good.
Oh, you got it. And we were rooting. We won 100. You guys, you gave us the gift. Thank you for all those games.
Thank you very much.
Yes, your former reference to your business in NIL. What are your thoughts on that NIL for high school, possibly?
Wow. I know that's being voted on today, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's chaotic at the college level. I can only imagine what it's going to be like at the high school level. I have no idea, because now you're going to have kids wanting to leave. You got kids suing the high school association. I don't know. I think legislation is going to have to get involved to kind of put this thing on wraps, because it's just out of control. It's out of control right now.
Where does Ohio State rank nationally on NIL as far as overall funding?
Wow, great question. That's the part that's problematic. There's no unity to really understanding what's going on, because they came out with this protocol that every school had $20 million to allocate respectfully to all their sports. So if you're Ohio State, you have $20 million. So how much are you going to give for football? How much are you going to give for basketball? How much are you going to give for the other sports, right? So that's an unknown. It's not for public consumption for them to disclose that. So you could have a situation, because Ohio State is pro football, they're going to allocate more of that 20 million towards football, and basketball is going to get a lesser number. Now, whereas if you are at Indiana, the football program is doing pretty good now, but if you're Indiana, let's say UConn, that's a better example. UConn really doesn't have a football program. So to speak of, you're talking about they can allocate maybe 15 million out of their 20 to football, to basketball. So now you got a disparity in funds that's supposed to be equal. So I don't know what Ohio State has allocated. but I know it's lower than a lot of other schools in terms of basketball. And that's the issue. What is enough? I think there's got to be some transparency between every entity to come up with a solution.
So your own organization is just part of the Ohio State?
I'm sorry?
Your own organization?
The old foundation?
Yeah, that's part of the whole thing. It's not the whole.
No, we basically, we still have it, but we decided to merge with the foundation because the foundation was doing football. We were just doing basketball. So we put our heads together and we merged with the foundation. So the foundation is now helping football and basketball. And so it really helped us.
Yeah, I just have one short thing to tell you, and I went to Washington School 10 years before you guys did, and it's wonderful to see some kids from the streets end up growing up to be men like you, because a lot of the times, us kids from the streets, we don't get a whole lot of people that we can see that have made it. And I think it's a wonderful thing to see each and every one of you guys being somebody that kids from Washington, Lakewood, that I went to, that could be something. And I say God bless y'all, and it's wonderful to hear your stories.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I had a question also. I went to Lakewood also, thank you. But back in the day, Minnesota Park Summer League, we played, and then in high school, we played with a young man called Nate West. Remember Nate West? He has a grandson named Darren Peterson. What do you guys think about his upside of Peterson? And he went to Canton City Schools initially.
Yeah, Darren Peterson, obviously, he's going to be either the first pick or one of the top 5 picks. He's a tremendous talent. He ended up going to Kansas. As you guys know, at the point, he got a contract with Adidas. And it was not surprising to me that he was going to choose a school college that was affiliated with Adidas, which is Kansas. So thankfully, great for him. He's a great player. I think he's going to be a great pro. I watched him Nate up close against the best in college, and he performed. I think he had like 61 points in his one game. And the thing that was more impressive than that is that when it was clutch time, he wanted the basketball, and he delivered. So he's got a long career ahead of him in the NBA. And I want to go back to the gentleman. It takes a village, right? Troy and I were very fortunate to have great parents. We would have days where I would be at his house. We play basketball all day at Washington, and then spend the night. Mom makes spaghetti. Next morning we have breakfast, and he comes over to my house, play basketball all day on my side of town, which was southeast. He was northeast. Then we had dinner at my house. Woke up the next morning, had breakfast, and we started all over again. Right? But guess what? We wasn't bringing in the cars. We were playing basketball, and we were having fun. Mom and Dad had structure, but we had a tremendous support group too. You can go to all the statistics in the world. There's no father in the household. Not that you can't make it as a young person without a father, but if you have a father in the household, more times than not, those kids are going to be productive.
Beautiful.
Any more questions? We're good? All right, real quick, Jeff, stand up, please. So, the reason why I picked that day, October 12th, that was the day that my mom was born, right? So I always pick that up. So because of that, you get 2 tickets to any Ohio State basketball game. And when you come down as my guest, I'll give you a tour of the Schottenstein Center and have you go on the floor, meet the players and coaches. So that is what you're going to get, my man. Thank you all.